Minister, please. Thank you. All well, Minister, what a great joy that you're here. And I know there are other countries in the world that trade with India, but listen, thank you so much. It's a great honor to spend some time with you. If I may, let me ask you some questions which are partly about the trade deal, but also generally about the UK and India. The reason I say that is that I lost my temper with someone at dinner the other night. They were talking about working in India, and they said, probably we'll do that at the next stage of the trade deal. And I said, I don't think you understand. You can get on a plane and talk to India now about many things. So let me ask you this question. If I think of, what's very striking when I spend time in India is the huge investment that your country is making in digital public infrastructure, manufacturing and green technologies. How do you see that Britain might, with its scientists, but also investors, actually be part of that ambition?
Thank you very much, Sarian. I'm extremely sorry, but we're seen in the midst of a lot of uncertainty all over the world. And therefore, I've been up almost half the night at 2 o'clock. Got back up at 6:30 in the morning for the first call of the day. But I still did my Hyde Park walk, by the way. Uh, to your question, I think a free trade agreement also adds value to science and technology and innovation. A trade agreement is not only about opening the doors wider for bilateral trade in goods or in services, or even promoting investments. A free trade agreement demonstrates to the world that the two countries are friends, are allies, plan to work together closely, that trust each other. There's potential to work together because there will be stability, there'll be continuity, there'll be predictability in the relationship. And of course, the trade agreement also covers things like the intellectual property rights. So when we do co-creation or co-design of any new technologies, you have the confidence that the IPR also gets strong protections. You have the confidence that you will be getting justice from any kind of misuse. So I think science and technology is something which will benefit. And India has chosen that over the next 10 to 15 years, we are going to massively invest in our innovation ecosystem. Government will be supporting people who wish to go down that route in India through subsidies, through grants, through long tenor funding. And our idea is that India should be at the cutting edge of technology. India should start providing the world, just like we did in the digital public infrastructure, newer and newer innovations coming out of the talent that we have in India. And I also believe innovation done in India will happen at a fraction of the cost at which innovation will happen anywhere else in the world. So, with your salary levels, and if you don't mind my saying so, with a lack of, I'm being as nice as I can, with a lack of adequate young talent is what I'm stressing.
Yeah.
You have a lot of talent otherwise, Sarian, but young talent is what I'm talking about. And with the fact that the costs of any work that has to be done in America, in Europe, or the highly developed countries with high per capita incomes makes that cost at least 10x of what it would be in a country like India. So, should somebody be willing to put in, as the government of India is, about $12-13 billion, which we have decided to put into innovation from the government, we are actually investing almost $150 billion worth of innovation coming out of India. And post the COVID pandemic, the world has woken up to a new reality. The world has woken up that if we could do so much working out of home, and sadly, I'm told there are many parts of the world, I don't know much about in the UK, but there are many parts of the world where people have still not got back to the office. Either they're doing hybrid working, they come into the office once or twice a week, if at all they do, which leads us to believe that then why the hell should they be moving people into the developed world and struggling with immigration and mobility and all of that? Might as well just do the work in India, leverage the huge talent and youthful population, and get that innovation to serve the world. So that's the direction in which the Indian government is going. I think it's a win win for friends and allies like the UK and India, and possibly Oxford would benefit a lot by doing the next vaccine research in India.
Very clever answer. Just to reassure you, I'm in the office 8 days a week, Minster. Yeah, that's why I instantly feel I like you so much. But let's just dwell on that. I mean, and in terms of India's ambitions, I mean, in terms of the global picture, manufacturing, supply chains, I mean, India has some pretty seismic ambitions. Just speak a bit more about that in terms of the global trading system and where India is going to be in that.
When I look at India's current contribution to global trade, it clearly demonstrates a huge possibility to grow in the future. Over the last few years, our focus on quality and better quality standards so that India is recognized world over as a producer of quality goods or supplier of quality services. Our focus on creating capacities to scale, our focus on entering into robust trade agreements with the developed world. There was a point of time 15 years ago when we were more focused on doing trade agreements with really countries who were our competitors. So if I do an ASEAN agreement with Indonesia and Malaysia and Vietnam and Thailand and Cambodia and Laos, which was done 15 years ago before we came into government, it really is silly because I am giving or opening up my market to my competitors, and many of whom have now become the B team of China. So effectively and indirectly, I've opened up my market for goods that find their way from China into India. Instead of that, what this government is focusing on is having robust agreements as we did with Australia and are now negotiating with New Zealand another 3 or 4 months. What we did with UAE and are now close to closing a second in the Gulf and may possibly start with other members of the Gulf region, rich countries. What we did with UK and with the four EFTA countries, Iceland, Norway, Liechtenstein, and Switzerland, and are in active dialogue with the European Union. We are in dialogue with the United States of America. We are in dialogue with Peru, Chile, countries with whom we don't compete, with whom we complement each other, where they have certain things to offer which India would love to have, as with the UK agreement, and we have certain things on offer which don't hurt their economies. In any case, I suspect you're not going to be able to make, let's jeans in the United States or Switzerland or Europe or even UK at anywhere near the price at which we can do it in India. But then I may not be able to possibly make a medical device as smart and efficient and at the cost with the innovation that you already have done on it. And therefore, these agreements will help us grow as an economy, help our innovation ecosystem get the right equipment, the right enabling environment. And our effort is collaborate, co create, cooperate, co design. Let's work together as friends and allies of the democratic world.
Wow, that's very inspiring. Can I pick on some the things you said there. I have many obsessions, but one of my obsessions is about health and medical innovation. And when I go to India, I just constantly meet the most amazing people uh, in biotech and pharmaceutical and a whole range of things. And already there's a very strong scientific relationship in that sphere. But I'm chairing a panel this afternoon with a very controversial title. And the title is Can India Save the National Health Service? And I tell you what, but my serious point is that actually there's so much innovation in India. Let's take, I wonder what you think in terms of, I have a joke you will understand. You spend 5 minutes with Kira Mazumdar Shaw and you believe that actually India will help me live another 100 years. She's promised me that, Minister. She promised me.
May I pass on the mic to, but what's Richard is there? Because this is a subject that I've discussed at length with the United Kingdom government. I think it's become too much of a political hot potato in your country, and therefore taking a decision on this matter may be politically very difficult. In given the kind of vitiated climate all of us in democracies today face. Otherwise, what you say makes a lot of eminent sense. I mean, I'm told, and I may not be entirely correct, but you would know better, that if you need a dentist appointment today, you may actually land up getting one after a month. I don't know how far that's true or not true, or if you need a serious heart surgery, you may not get one in 24 hours, it may take you longer. Whereas India, a 9-hour flight away, can actually, including the costs of travel and any other costs that may be incurred, provide you all of these services wherever the NHS is with long queues or long delays. We can help provide that at a fraction of the cost, much smarter and better, without causing any job losses in UK. In fact, again, only supplementing and complementing the effort so that the citizens of United Kingdom and the residents of the UK live a healthier and happier life. I mean, I know that a toothache or a kidney stone problem can be literally worse than labor pain.
Yeah.
But well, you just pump the patient with painkillers, or with your innovation and smarter emitting pain patches. What's that, painkiller patches? Maybe you can do it more efficiently. But every chemical that you're putting into a patient ultimately has some reaction somewhere or the other. I'm not a doctor. I'm a simple little chartered accountant. But even I know that these chemicals do us no good. So I think it would make a lot of eminent sense, but we will need to have a political environment in which one can discuss these things, or even partially start looking at only those areas where we can cooperate without at all, I can guarantee you, hurting any jobs or any elements of your local industry.
You see, that's so interesting, Minister, because you used a very interesting phrase when you talked about co-developing. And I think that must surely be a clue here that in terms of the narrative about cooperation, it's about joint enterprise with some of these solutions. Can I just, as time presses on, we had a very, because one of the key things in medicine is about really understanding big data and its implications for our lives. And some of us were at a breakfast this morning with Rishi Sunak, who said something very funny, but led to a bigger question. So in Britain, 60% of people are very anxious about artificial intelligence. And in India, 60% of people are really excited about, but his serious point was that actually the power of our two countries to achieve two very difficult things. One is to really embrace the potential of AI, but also the ethics of AI as well, because we are two great democracies. I wonder, what do you think might be the opportunities for Britain and India in terms of the next industrial revolution?
Sir Ian, I think artificial intelligence is an area that India is absolutely going to adopt, is going to bring into our working. We do not see this as an area of concern that will lead to job losses. In fact, given our talent in the country, I think this will open up many, many more avenues to help the world in terms of data, in terms of decoding new possibilities with AI. So we are only looking at it as a need to retrain our people, to reskill our talent, but adopt it, look for regulation to provide for ethical use of AI and safeguard against misuse. And misuse can be terrible through AI with all the fake videos going around, the fake tweets going around, and all the memes in the system. Very often, the cheating that's happening with people getting videos which seem very genuine but are totally false, and people maybe skimmed off their money or whatever using such fake videos. So there are serious concerns. But to solve those concerns, also you need the human mind.
Yeah.
So end of the day, as just like me, most Indians are convinced the human mind will always be supreme. You get the best of AI, the human mind has created it and will be able to tame it and ultimately will be superior to any kind of AI. That I'm absolutely sure. And for anybody who's not convinced, can watch the last Star Wars movies or whatever has come out, or even Mission Impossible for that matter.
Minister, I like you more and more. I'm also a chartered accountant and I also like science fiction. Why has it taken so long for us to meet?
That's wonderful. But I want to add one small element to this. Artificial intelligence has one big danger which has not yet been recognized, I think, adequately. And an august and distinguished group of friends like in this room should reflect on it, I think. I remember when I was doing my chartered accountancy and computers had just got introduced in the 80s. I'm revealing my age also. At that time, I was taught a computer is effectively garbage in, garbage out. Whatever you feed in, you'll get a version of a mashed version of that or a processed version for your use. We all know bots, and we've seen how bots can be used to influence Twitter trends, social media, and all of that. Now, just try to imagine if somebody were to fill the databases on any particular interest, area of interest, maybe health, or maybe an innovative product. Somebody was to fill in huge amounts of nonsense into databases through intelligent means, maybe even using artificial intelligence to feed in that data in a very intelligent way. We could actually come out with results which could be threatening, which could be dangerous, which could lead to serious consequences for people, or where people are using Grok or ChatGPT or anything, coming out with results, believing them to be true since a lot of people have started depending on that and making mistakes. So I would strongly recommend that none of us should get so carried away by AI that we start believing everything that's written under a AI question, AI inquiry. So I do believe the human mind will ultimately play an increasingly important role. We saw that happening at every point of time when computers came in, the fear of job losses initially, but ultimately more efficiency and effective working leading to more jobs. The Y2K bug, 99, 2000, India was at the forefront of providing solutions because you guys wanted solutions. I still remember at that time I used to laugh at the fears of the world, something like asterisks and obliques. Everybody thought the sky is going to fall on their head. But End of the day, while nothing happened on 1st of January 2000, the Indian IT industry never looked back after that. It was a one-way street up. And today is a $500 billion ecosystem in India. And now with artificial intelligence, we can see a very, very similar situation emerging.
Yeah. Wow. A final question and comment, because I know you're very busy. Just to say, so our kind of admiration for the work that you and our British colleagues have done on the free trade deal. It's so much hard work. But also, I want to check I heard something that you said correctly, because when it was announced, there was a lot of noise in the newspapers and the media. And you said something that I thought was very, very interesting. You said, this is a great trade deal, but it's a floor, not the ceiling. And I hope I heard you right, because I know you've got a lot to do, but I look forward to the second trade deal.
Well, I think we must all recognize that relationships are not made on the day you enter into your marriage vows. It starts from there. So I think the United Kingdom and India, two major democracies, two countries with a shared history, strong traditional bonds, rich heritage, are two partners who are destined to do much more together. And this trade deal will be the beginning of a journey. I think as it evolves, as businesses start seeing benefits out of it, as more and more people start finding the virtues of a very fair, equitable, and balanced arrangement that has been made between two very different economies. End of the day, one must respect that this was a 1.4 billion people market doing a trade deal with a 70 million people market. You must recognize that today, India is a $2,500, $3,000 per capita income country. But aspiring tomorrow to grow from a $4 trillion to $32 trillion in the next 22 years. By 2047, when we celebrate 100 years of independence from you.
We are doing so well.
But the UK, also a $4 trillion almost today, does not have the same potential in the next 22 years or even thereafter. So we had to create a balance. And that is what I think has been very smartly achieved between both the governments. As we are all aware, a lot of the negotiations took place in the erstwhile government. I must commend the current government for having committed to me well before your election.
Yeah.
Encouraging me to close the deal with the previous government. Believe me, encouraging me. That you're free to close the deal with the previous government, and whatever you finalize, should we come into power, we will honor. And after coming back into government after a long hiatus, the Labour government has not backtracked on almost anything. Rather, why do I even use the word almost? Has not backtracked on anything that was pre-negotiated before the election and has only built upon it, which I would like to respectfully submit is truly the strength of the UK democracy. I commend all of you for that. And I'd like to commend both your political parties for that maturity that they have shown. I wish we had an opposition equally mature who wouldn't pump the online and to Oxford University and run down his own nation. Thank you.